Hey there, sugar chips. You need a firmware update?
It's short stuff.
Someone needs an oil change.
It's not horrible, but it isn't good either. I am the Wiz! Alright everybody, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this review, please leave a like at the end of this video. And if you want to watch more, please subscribe. I do 3 reviews a week on this channel. Alright everybody, I'm here to review the 2024 video game adaptation of Borderlands, starring Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Ariana Greenblatt, and Jamie Lee Curtis, directed by Eli Roth. Let me start with this. I am very much familiar with the Borderlands video games. With the exception of Tales of the Borderlands, I have played every one of them and beaten almost all of them. I still haven't completed Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So let me tell you what the Borderlands games are known for. Fun gameplay with a great loot system, absolutely horrible story writing, and humor. Just abysmal writing. I can't tell you how bad the writing is. What Borderlands is really known for is having some of the most juvenile, unfunny humor that is paired with internet culture memes and jokes that are at least 5 years old by the time it's released. So when I say that the Borderlands movie isn't awful, consider what I am comparing it to. In fact, when comparing the movie to the main Borderlands games, the movie is the best writing the franchise has seen. Some of the humor actually lands, and the character writing is tolerable, and the story itself is somewhat cohesive. Damning with faint praise, I know. But Wiz, you might be saying, I have heard that the Borderlands movie is one of the worst to come out in a long time. Are you really saying it's actually good? No, not at all. I'm not saying it's good at all. Borderlands is still a bad movie, unfortunately. It's still bad. But if there is one movie that I can compare to Borderlands in its quality, it's a film I reviewed for the 1995 mini-film reviews a few weeks back, and that is Tank Girl. And they compare well because I can watch both films and see where the film was trying to go, and it had the means to actually get there effectively. But something got in the way and ended up making the film a mess. As for the positives that Borderlands has, for me it's the cast. Each member of the main cast is likable. Cate Blanchett works surprisingly well as Lilith. Kevin Hart is decent as Roland, even though he's way too short for the role. And hell, I even like Jack Black as Claptrap in this. I'm actually surprised by that. But what was really surprising for me is that Tiny Tina was likable, who is played by Ariana Greenblatt. Now, to me, one of the absolute worst, most annoying characters in the games is Tiny Tina. It's why I haven't completed Wonderlands yet. She is so insufferable in that game. And yet, I actually liked Greenblatt as Tina in this film. She seems to mix the cuteness with the psychopathy well enough to make Tina an enjoyable character. And the writing is... it's not bad. It's not good, really, but it's not bad. The humor is fine, and the film just moves at a nice enough pace where any glaringly bad things the film has can be whisked away by the next scene, and nothing is really lingered on in this film. But what is bad? Well, everything visually. Everything visually about the film is terrible. So let's start with the action. The action is really bad in this film. Everything, from the way that the stunts are performed to how they are shot, is just of a poor quality. None of the stunts look believable, whether it's hand-to-hand combat, shootouts, or even the big stunts in the film. The big stunts specifically look like it's obviously on a green screen. And the sets the film is using looks really cheap. The world of Pandora looks like it's on a soundstage. There is no illusion at all that they are in a planet far away from our lands. Like I said, basically everything on a visual standpoint is terrible. Finally, the film feels like it's threading an impossible needle when it comes to tone. The Borderlands games are filled with juvenile, crude humor, and even some cursing. The world is meant to be dark and dystopian with all sorts of, deviant elements throughout the game. Borderlands, the film, feels too clean and sanitized. As the film is rated PG-13, there is clearly a limit to how much cursing there is, but even the crude jokes feel too tame. Also, the sense of danger from the games are replaced by campiness that saps away all the excitement. I mean, it's clear that I don't like Borderlands, but to be fair, I feel like there was an enjoyable movie in here. There are some good elements to the film, namely the cast using their charm to carry the film. But as visually bad as the film is, I think some who give the film a chance will actually find themselves enjoying Borderlands despite its obvious problems. I think that in some time, Borderlands will be a film that'll have its own small cult following, much like Tank Girl has today. Who that will be is something only the future can tell. All I can say about Borderlands is that it's not the worst film I've seen from a video game adaptation. But with films like Double Dragon and Street Fighter littering the landscape, that really isn't saying much. Alright, so before I get into my rating, let's see what other people think about this film. Letterboxd users has this at an average of 1.5 out of 5. Yeah, like I said, this is not a liked movie. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a score of 10% rotten. Oh, wow. that's bad. And as for the Oscars, what am I kidding? I think this actually won some Razzie, if I remember correctly, which I don't. But yeah, Oscars, no way. I'm going to give the 2024 Borderlands film 1.5 stars out of 5. Now, that's about the same average as the Letterboxd score. But even then, I've seen some people absolutely excoriate this film. And to a certain extent, I completely understand why. The visual elements themselves in this film is poor. It is really not good. But I like the cast in this film. I think that they were actually very good. They're charming and they're likable in the film. And some of the humor is not bad. But again, the visual palette of the film, the stunts, the action is all very bad. But in that case, I'd have to give this film a low rating. But what I will say is I think there's going to be some people who will champion this film in about maybe a few years' time. So if you are at all interested, I would say give the film a shot. Maybe not pay attention to all the bad reviews, because there is some redeeming elements to the film, but Borderlands is still very much a mess of a film. So overall, 1.5 stars out of 5 for Borderlands. If you're interested in streaming it, it's on Stars, but you can rent it anywhere else if you are interested. Alright guys, well that's the end of this review. Since I was reviewing a whole bunch of movies based off video game properties or about video games, let me ask you a question. What is your favorite film that is either based off of a video game property or is about video games in some way? So that means you can use Tron, you can use The Last Starfighter, or you can use Borderlands, God help you if you do. Right now, I would kind of have to say off the top of my head, I think the best film I have seen about video games or with a video game property is actually Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I actually liked that film. It was charming enough, and it was also a good time, and it was also pretty respectful for the games itself. So I definitely enjoyed that game, but that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, that's the end of this review. Thank you again for watching. See you guys next time.
Let me tell you everything you need to know about Pandora. She's dangerous, she's dirty, and she's definitely a toxic waste dump. But she's my home.
What a show-off!
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, please subscribe. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment whether you liked it or not. It just helps, you know. If you want my written reviews, you can go onto my Letterboxd at IamThatWiz, or you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. Thank you very much again for watching. See you next time.